There we go.
James, I thought we stopped doing these. Why? Please let my wife and kids go. I don't want to talk to you about Tenet. Right. There you go.
There we go.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
good.
back. We're back, James. Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've had the utmost displeasure of saying welcome to Popcorn and Regret.
Mm-hmm. But who were you suffering for that displeasure with?
Well, I would have been suffering with my lovely housemate James, but he's abandoned me.
That's right.
And he's now on the other side of a computer. Yep. So I'm Adam Riding, and James Deacon is my co-host.
Hello.
And like everything in 2020, we are doing this
via. Hang on, let's pedal this back.
Huh?
Let's pedal this back. You're my co-host. Let's not get this wrong, Adam.
What?
You're my co-host.
No,
this is my show.
No. Right, I say I've always. We did like 3 episodes, but I was always the one who had like the fucking list of things to talk about and like tried to like bring things on. You just like, hey, let it happen, bro. Let it happen.
Yeah, because that's better. That is better.
Let that happen. I know, but you need a string. You need something, right?
Yeah, I think personally, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best podcasts are ones that are like just talking about nonsense, really, whatever they want.
Yeah, but you listen to Joe Rogan and shit, don't you? And he's
not really anymore.
Okay, because he was just a guy who'd have a guest on and be like, "Hey, you got any cool stories?" And that guy would be like, "Yeah, actually, when I was 12. Anyway, have you seen this? Look how jacked I am. Look at this shit. Look at that." Joe Rogan, what are you saying about your tragic childhood? Anyway, you like UFC.
I don't think that was it, but
I don't know. Let's not have the conversation of the podcast be how do you structure a podcast. It's very niche.
You know what? No, let's have a podcast about podcasts and we'll get super popular. People will be like, "Wow,
we're meta, aren't we?"
Shite. Yeah.
It's so inside baseball, isn't it?
I don't know what that means. It's a reference.
It's not a reference. It's a saying. It just kind of means like working within itself, I guess. So like a movie about making a movie is inside baseball because it's like doing everything. Poor connection. That's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you know that I'm as close to the root as I can be. So
exactly.
It is in my room. So I mean, it's weird because we haven't done this in ages. So there should be
loads to
talk about. I mean, there's the obvious tragic news of Chadwick Boseman.
That's fucking terrible.
Which was a fucking crazy thing to wake up to. I was half awake to like a message from it. Was my family group chat as well, so it wasn't the source that I'd normally like expect to get those type of messages, and it was just like from my brother-in-law going like, "Oh, Black Panther's dead," and I was like, "What?" Like half asleep, like.
What does this mean?
And it's fucking crazy that he was sick for all that time and nobody knew. I assumed that like the director Ryan Coogler knew, but he released a statement today that was like, he was like, I was deep in making Black Panther 2, nobody told me he was sick, and it was like,
it's terrible. I suppose he was hoping to make as much good work as he could.
Yeah, I think it only went terminal recently, so I don't think like when he got diagnosed they were like, you've got 4 years or whatever. Like I don't think it was like that. But yeah, fucking hell. What's disgusting is my work up to the price of Black Panther on Blu-ray and shit.
You know that's how it works, though. That is how it works.
They doubled it as well. I will be clear that no one in my shop was behind the price change. It's someone's job in an office somewhere to decide that, oh, it's been 2 days, that's enough time for us to know capitalize on
it. No, they capitalize on it straight away. Yeah,
but I mean, like, obviously it happened on Saturday, right? Was it Sunday? Was it yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
I had no concept of time, but we had relay bills come in, which is when when the almighty gods decide that the prices have changed, and we had some come in halfway through the day, and we all assumed it was going to be. But you hungry, son? You're hungry. You're a bit hungry. We just assumed it was going to be Black Panther, and it wasn't. And we were like, oh, thank God. And then got to work today, and it was like, oh, we've got some relabels for Black Panther. It's like, right, okay. No, they just decided to only wait a day.
It's just how it works, you know. As soon as it's like marketable, which it is now. You know.
Kind of crazy. Anyway, so that's happened, which is awful. And be interesting to see how Marvel address it. I would assume that at the very least Kevin Feige was aware of it.
Surely. I think that's why they had they kind of gave Black Panther some revenants.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially in Avengers Endgame when he comes out and he's the first one to come out.
Yeah.
And there's that scene. I feel like they knew there was a chance.
There's that, and obviously I think just the importance that Black Panther had, I think, was also a reason why, like, when it comes to the portal scene, he's the first one out. I think it was more to do with, I don't think they'd finished shooting that when Black Panther came out. So that could have been something different, and then they were like, this is like a massive cultural moment, and like this movie is massive. Then maybe they changed up, but we don't know. I mean, what else has happened? I guess cinemas are, as we'll talk about, cinemas are back open to an extent.
Yeah, they are.
In England.
Extent.
So far I have seen 3 movies, and they have all been by Christopher Nolan. I saw Inception, Dark Knight, and Tenet or Tenet.
He's fun.
Which we'll talk about.
Tenet is so good.
Okay, we'll talk about it. I mean, it's good, but we'll talk about it. I got some issues. Not that many. That makes it sound like I'm gonna be like it's shit.
Slaying it, yeah.
Because when I saw The Dark Knight again, first time I'd seen it in years, I think. Because that was like when I was a kid. That was like the first. That was like the movie that made me go like, "Fucking hell, movies are good." Or maybe not fucking hell, because I was like 10. But like, by Jove, golly, sir, these motion pictures are sure fine. And
I forgot that you was a child when you was in the Victorian age. Yeah.
Yeah. So I developed the northern accent later. But yeah, so like that then like Christopher Nolan was the only like quote unquote arty director I knew, and I just consumed the shit out of movies like The Dark Knight and Inception and Prestige and stuff. Just watched them on repeat to the point where like I didn't even see Dunkirk because I was like I still haven't because I was so burnt out on Nolan. That I was like, I don't even really care anymore. And then to watch Inception again, watch Dark Knight and Inception again, not being a dumb child anymore, where I can actually watch the movie and understand it more and less pretend that I did, or just be like, I like Batman. That I'm like, you know what, this Nolan kid, he's pretty good, isn't he? This Nolan kid's gonna go places.
Sorry, I'm just finishing up on Min.
I know you are. I know you are.
In front of me. Listen, I like Christopher Nolan, and I do like Tenet quite a bit. I feel like we're going to have some conflicting opinions.
I mean, I did like it, and I do need to see it again. But like I said, I've been quite busy at work, so I just haven't had a chance to see it again. But yeah, I mean. Do you want to just get right into it? Because I don't really have anything else unless you want to talk about some other things you've been watching or doing.
Should we have a cutoff point? Should we first talk about?
Oh yeah, we'll I mean, also we'll try not to spoil stuff and just give like general opinion and then.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's
general opinion, and then a cutoff where we start talking about the plot.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about some other things first if you want. If you've got some things you'd like to talk about.
You know, fuck.
James? Have you seen the motion picture? Mission Impossible 2? Have you seen that, James?
Yeah, I have.
I bought this box set of the Mission Impossible movies because I've only seen 3 to 6.
Right.
Love them. I think they're great movies. So I was like, I'll buy the box set and I'll watch 1 and 2 finally. And I watched 1. And I thought, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good movie. Mission Impossible 2 is one of the worst movies I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Really?
I fucking hated it.
Wow.
So do you want a Blu-ray of Mission Impossible 2? Because I'm not fucking watching it again.
I mean, probably. I'll probably take it off your hands. Yeah.
It's awful, man. There's a scene where like Tom Cruise, well, Ethan Hunt, and like the female love interest like crash into each other in their two cars, and then just start spinning, while going, like giving each other googly eyes and fucking slow motion for like 2 minutes, and then her car slightly gets close to the cliff. You don't see her fall out, and then she's just hanging, going like, "Oh fucking hell!" And
Jesus.
the movie would have been an hour long had they got out the slow mo.
Yeah. Really? Is it that bad?
There's like a scene where like I know the director John Woo does it a lot. It's a scene just at the end, like he just runs through a flock of pigeons in slow motion while like firing double guns. And the Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible 2 is not the same character from the other movies. It's just different
Doesn't
people.
make any sense.
And there's a bit that so he's hiding, like, you know, trying to hide away from the bad guy. And another pigeon, comes through the doorway, and this henchman goes, "Oh bloody hell, that's suspicious." How is that suspicious that just a pigeon flew past you? That's not. And then one last thing, obviously, I've seen the event. They chase Ethan Hunt and the villain. They chase each other on motorcycles, and they start like getting close to each other, and then they just jump off the motorcycles, basically just hug in midair, and then the motorcycles explode, and it's just it's.
It was a different time, Adam. It was a different time.
It was 2000. It was very 2000. Anyway, it was awful.
Yeah,
it
does sound bad. Is that the one where it begins with him rock climbing?
Yeah, it's the one where the big stunt of the movie is entirely unnecessary.
You're right.
There's like no reason for him to be rock climbing. That's like if Ghost Protocol just started and they were like rung him up and he was just on the side of the tall building in Dubai, just going like, "Oh, he's just having a casual Tuesday." Like, there's no reason for him to be there.
He just wants some fun in his life.
Anyway, Mission Impossible 2 is awful. It had some.
I love how this. We were going to do this episode about Tenet.
I had to defend. Anthony Hopkins says a very, very badly aged line.
Oh, what does he say? Bill Cosby's a great man.
No, it was something. There's a line from the. There's a line from the first.
Jimmy Savile. What does he say?
There's a line from. I can't. Oh, let me think. But there's a line from the first one which I actually loved because it was the dumbest shit ever. But it was Asta lasagna, don't get any on you, or something like that. That was great.
Asta lasagna, don't get any on you. What does that even mean?
Anyway, he's talking about explosive gum as well when he said that, so it didn't make sense. But the second one, he said something like, "Oh, we need your love interest. Her ex is the villain. Like, we need her to go like swoon him." And he was like, "She's not prepared for that." And she was like, "What, to lie to a man? She's a woman. She has all the preparation she needs," or something to that effect.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Anyway, it was awful. That's but there we go. We padded a bit of time.
We did. We padded out so people could be like, "Oh, we don't want to get to the Tenet bit too fast."
Yeah,
don't want to do that.
So let me rant about Mission Impossible 2.
Well, now everyone knows. Everyone that's watching this will be like,
"Don't watch Mission Impossible 2. Just skip it. Watch 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just don't watch 2.
Is there a 7? Is there an 8?
There's got to be they're doing a 7 and an 8, I think.
I thought they already existed for some reason.
No, they're at 6.
Right, Adam. Well, I guess you should
go get my Fanta from over here. You're right. I should. Anyway, so
digitally chink. Ready?
All right.
Well, tink.
I just slapped my laptop. God, this podcast used to have order. It
doesn't need order.
Used to stand for something. It used to mean something.
My influence has finally worked. It doesn't mean anything anymore. We're just
the criminals of this city used to believe in something. What do you believe in?
They used to
What
have
do you believe in?
popcorn, but they just have regret now. Just regret. That's where the regrets come in.
A guy who like shops at my shop,
Yeah.
just like brought in this massive bag of popcorn that he made.
What?
It was nice. It was nice. It was nice popcorn, I guess.
Oh, I see. You're right.
Like he made like homemade popcorn and then like brought in like.
Though, like I thought you meant he actually made the bag as well, like this huge bag of like cinema style popcorn. Or something.
I don't know how big the bag was because they were like divvied up into like little bags, and I was given one.
What did he fucking bring? What did he bring the popcorn in?
I don't think it was divvied up in bags. I think someone at my work. So they got a big bag of this popcorn this guy made, and then someone at my work, then divvied it up into bags for everyone. Because it would have been weird if that guy was like, here is specifically 7 bags, because that's how many people work here. Like, it'd be weird if he knew that.
Mm.
Especially because somebody the other day asked me, they said, are you new here?
Did he? What I mean is, did he come in with a carrier bag? Like, just a carrier bag full of popcorn?
It's a Tesco bag of popcorn.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I wasn't there when I was there once when he was talking to someone about it and going, so what you do, right? You don't put the butter in for too long, right? You don't do that. What you got to do is you got to season it. You got to put a little bit of sugar on at the start.
Phil Mitchell.
Yeah, boil it in. And you got to do that. This is my voice for every Southern person, all right? This is a guy actually who said I haven't. Who referred to my accent. Yeah, he referred to my accent as an our kid voice, which like our kids are our Michael, which is not my accent at all because that's Manchester or Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, I was
Liverpool isn't in the north.
I was profiled. Anyway, so no, yeah, he was like, "You got to eat popcorn. You got to do this." I was there when you talking about that, and then he brought some in, and it was, I guess. So yeah, I had some popcorn that a random man made.
Fascinating. This shit's amazing.
I can't even remember why I started telling that. Sorry. Anyway, yep. I got someone asked me. Somebody asked me at my job yesterday. They said, "Are you new here?" And I was like, "I've worked here a year." Oh, I've never seen you before. So,
fucking hell, I don't. This is a grim fucking.
I sold a man a 4K steelbook of Joker, so he's probably going to go shoot up a place, I guess.
4K
steelbook. So like that is like.
I thought you meant he spent $4,000 on it.
No, like as in a 4K. But that's the premium one. That's the top of the food chain.
Right.
4K steelbook. That's the if you like a movie that much, that's the cream of the crop. I mean, I guess not the cream of the crop because he bought it secondhand. Anyway, Tenet. Did you see Tenet, James?
I did.
Or Tenet, whatever the fuck it's called.
I saw it.
You saw it? Did you see it in the cinema?
I saw it yesterday.
Saw it yesterday?
Yes. Yesterday in the cinema.
He said probably will try to catch him out on whether he's illegally pirated the movie. So I think he's alright.
That'd be brilliant to listen to. Our viewers would be like, rewind to that bit.
And a woman, again, I'll do a sidebar from work because I've been at work for 5 days. Everything's gone insane. A woman came in and basically asked me how to.
We're never gonna get to the Tenet.
She asked me how to like jailbreak a Fire Stick, basically. She was like, "I want to buy Amazon Fire Stick so I can put like the illegal, the pirate apps on it." And I'm like, "What? Like, I don't know, man. I'm a good boy."
Why are you asking me? This is a CEX woman.
Tenet. Saw Tenet. It's a movie, wasn't it? What do you think of the movie, James?
I'm not gonna lie, it was a movie.
It was. What do you think? What do you think the movie was like? Eh? What do you think the story?
I thought the story was good. I feel like the only flaw in the film generally was, and I'm going to keep away from spoilers until we decide to start spoiling stuff.
Yeah, this is a spoiler-free zone.
I thought the film was very good.
I
didn't like the pace of the dialogue, especially since the plot is quite. It's not like a simplistic plot. It's not like The Dark Knight or even Inception. You could call simple. They're going inside dreams and then inside more dreams. But with this, it's you actually need to pay attention to what's going on, because being that it involves time travel, there are plot elements that are difficult to get your head around. Especially there were places in the film when they were going areas. I thought, well, this can't be the area that I think it is because it looks nothing like it. And then it turns out it was. It was just annoying.
I think when 10 minutes in, a character says, "Don't try and understand it."
Yeah, exactly.
There was kind of I mean, my issue is also kind of with pacing, just in general. I feel like there's too many big gaps where they're not doing time shit. Because 10, 15 minutes in, you get the concept explained to you, which is different to what the trailers painted it as. It's a different kind of concept. It's like it's items that are going back in time.
Yeah,
that they were from the future, but they were being sent backwards. It wasn't as much of a time travel.
No, they weren't from the future. They were affected by the future because the bullets were made. There, for instance, there's bullets in it that you see in the trailers, for instance. So that isn't a spoiler.
There's bullets in the movie
that travel backwards, like they go back into the gun. And there's a point where the woman explains that this is the bits that I did get the dialogue. They're actually explaining it. There's a bit where she's like, "Oh, the bullet could have been made yesterday, but it's been affected by when it's in the future."
But it's been fucked with in the future, regardless of whether it was made. So like, it's not time travel like a lot of the trailers, or I guess people guessed, because the trailer didn't really give anything away. It's just there's just some things are moving forward in linear time, and some things are moving backwards in linear time. But it's still a linear timeline. It's just people are going about it both ways.
Yeah,
but it's not separate timelines, and like, in this timeline Robert Pattinson was Batman, and in this timeline he was a vampire. But like, yeah. Anyway, I think like that gets explained. Like the basic concept obviously gets expanded on. That gets explained 10, 15 minutes into the movie. And then I feel like nothing backwards time related happens for about 30, 40 minutes. I feel like they explain it and then do not use it. And I feel like you could have had the explanation at a different point. You could have had the main character, who I'm pretty sure is just actually called the protagonist. He doesn't actually have a name.
I think that's really good as well. I think we'll get to that once we go to the spoiler.
Yeah, once we get to spoiler. But he goes and does stuff which kind of starts the ball rolling for the movie. But none of that stuff he does relates to Tenet or the ability the going backwards in time.
It does relate to.
It relates to the overall plot, but at that point in the movie, I don't think we need to have had it explained, because it then doesn't get used for a while. Like, I feel like you could have had the woman explaining the shit with the bullets and everything at a different point in the movie, and it wouldn't have made a difference. I feel like there's a chunk in the movie where you could have easily had him not know that this. Actually, I guess not, because he was going to find.
In my opinion, but I think if they chose, I think it was good, the structure, because
there was a point that it nearly lost me, and then
it lost me a few times, especially at the end.
Not so much confusion, but as in interest, because I was just kind of going yeah, can we do some time shit now? There's a point where we'll talk about spoilers. There was a I want to say 20 minutes, it might be less than that, 10-20 minute section in the middle of the movie, which I think is fucking spectacular, and I thought the movie was going to go in one direction after then, but actually Harry Styles was in Dunkirk, not anyway. So I thought it was going to go in one direction after that, and it kind of doesn't, and it does. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, what can we say about it without spoilers, other than just like our general.
I think the structure was good, and I think the structure was good because the film introduces the idea that things can travel backwards or forwards in time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. And
No, I mean
then
it was 10 minutes in. They tell you that.
exactly, and they say it in the trailer, and you can see it in the trailer because physical things are going backwards. Not
Yeah, but I guess in the trailer they never like explained. Like I don't know, they didn't explain anything.
they
In the trailer.
visually explain it though. They show things like a person fighting backwards or people catching bullets. So they explain that it's not that a person goes backwards into linear time, but that linear time reverses, that it becomes inverted. I like how they explain it because it then allows for the film to progress and for you to get to a point where there are events that you could then re-look at with the time travel involved. Like they allow you to be like, oh, here's the plot, and you've gotten to this point, and now we have to start using this gimmick that the viewer now understands completely because we spent the film explaining it, or half the film.
I do think that like
because think about at the end, it really escalates. It really escalates in like the complexity of the narrative and the use of it.
Yeah.
Like, me, what is going on? If you didn't have the sort of real understanding of the whole film, I don't think that bit would have worked.
I mean, I've got issues with the. I feel like I'm in a quite essential pose now,
okay.
but
it's lovely.
I think the ending climax bit, I don't think works. I think is it the middle point? I think the other kind of crescendo-y moment, maybe 40-30 minutes before that, I think is the big. I also don't kind of like how it ends. But I obviously won't say that what that is. But I don't hugely like that.
Let's get into the spoiler territory.
Yeah, okay. I think we'll just give general. It's a good movie. Of course, it's a good movie. Christopher Nolan doesn't make any bad movies. Perhaps it's maybe something to do with the fact that also this is the first new movie in months. That like it's easy to just get really hyped up for it, and maybe that's unfair. But I think it's really good. I think the concept is good. I think the use of mostly practical effects. I mean, like almost like 98% practical effects. I think is stunning. I think definitely go see it on the big screen. But I would say if a subtitled screening is an option, maybe do it because I think the sound mixing is fucked.
I think it is. You're right. I do actually think it is.
At moments, honestly, there's just the music going, just in the background.
Exactly.
Time. And there's generally a scene where the music's like building up. And like a lot of times in movies, they'll cut to like a character having like a one-liner, like a little joke, just a little bit of brevity. It happens a lot in Marvel movies. It like cuts to Robert Pattinson, and I see his mouth move, but what I heard was.
It wasn't mixed well. Yeah.
It seems to be a problem I've noticed because I've been watching a few Nolan movies recently. It just seems to be a general problem with him. There's a scene on a boat at one point where characters are talking through microphones on top of the soundtrack, on top of being on a boat.
Yeah.
And I did not get anything. So if you can see it subtitled, do it because you'll have a better understanding of the movie than me and James have because you would have heard everything.
The dialogue is not only too fast in places, but also too muffled. The audio is bad.
It's a lot of exposition, but also they do exposition, but using like in-universe language, so it kind of cancels itself out because its purpose seems to be to explain as thoroughly what's happening, but then they're using like in-universe terms for things, which then means that it just kind of becomes gibberish again.
Well, it's fun when they use in-universe terms, but you have to have at some point a point
those terms explained to you. Maybe you did. Maybe you know what? Maybe they did, but I didn't fucking hear it.
Oh, it sucks. Look, honestly, out of 10, if I'm giving an arbitrary scoring, I'd say it'd be a 9 because I really like the plot. but the sound mixing is an issue, and really, I think films need to be a perfect, collection of things, and the sound is too bad, and the dialogue, really, the pacing. Maybe there's a director's cut that fixes it, but until then, it's a 7. It's probably the lowest Christopher Nolan I can think of.
As you've said 7 now, you said 9 originally. You're saying 7.
No, I said it would be a 9 if it didn't have the sound.
Okay, right.
And the dialogue issue.
Yeah, I'm probably on a 7, leaning on an 8, depending on a second viewing. Well, obviously you're going in knowing what everything, and then being so like you pick up what you need to pick up, and then I guess on a second viewing, hopefully you'll be able to pick up the other pieces. Again, some of the pieces you couldn't hear, so who knows? But anyway, yeah, I'd probably agree 7 to an 8. I think it's a good movie. I think at least for the case of the cinema that I went to, they did this. They've done well with the social distancing and things like that. Apparently, they are quite thoroughly with checking if people are wearing masks. I was wearing a mask, so obviously I didn't get for it. But they're pretty good. They make sure that people have gaps between them and things like that. So it is safe to go to the cinema. I understand if you don't want to.
It is, yeah.
But I feel like if your options are this or New Mutants, I haven't seen New Mutants yet. But going off the general consensus, I feel like you should. I mean, maybe I'll see New Mutants this week and we can do.
I'd like to talk about New Mutants or something.
Yeah, we'll do that. But if your choice is New Mutants or Tenet, I'd say go see Tenet.
Even though they say Tenet, it's not spelt Tenet.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Also, if you just want a budget night, I'd buy Inception, really, because if you really boil it down, it is just Inception with time to an extent. Anyway,
I kind of prefer Interstellar. I think Interstellar's my favorite.
I've only ever seen Interstellar once. I really didn't. That again, the sound mixing and that is god awful. But I didn't like that. Oh no, it's just because the Hans Zimmer's. It's not Hans Zimmer who does the soundtrack for Interstellar. It's Ludwig. Can't pronounce his surname. Who does a lot of music production? He did the Black Panther soundtrack. He works with Childish Gambino and things like that. He does so like. Because I was proper vibing with the music, which is good because it was very loud, and so I'm glad I was enjoying it. But like Hans Zimmer's soundtrack from Interstellar is just a lot of what with Matthew McConaughey going. I just want to go back to space. I want to find my daughter. Where's she?
Don't let me leave.
Where's my daughter? And it's just anyway. So Christopher Nolan, honestly, have a hearing test. I think that's the problem because he's there in the mixing room and the editing room going, and the editor's going like, oh fucking hell, it's loud, and Chris is like, perfect.
Turn it up a bit more.
I want this to be loud. Chris, are you sure? Yeah, I'm not hearing it. Where's the music? You know, just fucking.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk some spoilers. So if you have not seen Tenet, then fucking see it, or we'll spoil it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
But actually, if you just play this podcast in reverse, we spoiled the whole movie.
Yeah. Wow.
Also, James said some really mean things about your mother. If you listen to him,
I didn't say that.
He did. He said, whatever you think he said worse.
Yeah.
He did worse. He said worse.
All right.
Anyway, spoilers for Tenet and Burr. All right. Here we go. What would you want to say? What's your first gambit?
I was gonna run through the plot quickly.
Okay.
Drop some like fun tidbits that I've learned. And then we can get to talking about it freely. We
probably should have set some sort of timer when we set this off because we have no idea how long we've gone for.
We've gone for 34 and 43 seconds.
Never mind. Somebody has put a timer on. Anyway, go ahead. Go mad.
So the film starts and it's
I disagree.
Americans, the CIA, and the Russians working together during a siege of a Russian or of a Ukrainian opera house.
Somewhere Eastern European. I didn't pay much attention to what was happening in that scene because I imagined it wasn't, the details were never actually going to be that important, and that was true.
So, the main character, who's called the protagonist, which I like, by the way, I think the idea that you get a character that doesn't really like it. I don't know why he's done it. I can't analyze it yet because I haven't seen the film enough times, but there is definitely a reason why he's left out the character's name, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's, I don't know, because he's in this, he's in this top secret like scheme, in this top secret group, doing this top secret thing, and he was a CIA agent before he was in Tenet, or formed Tenet. So I guess like he just, maybe that's like his code name, or like he just never really went by one. But I guess that logic again doesn't really work because we find out Robert Pattinson's name and things.
I feel like it's going to be a meta narrative about films or narratives in general, or something about, spies or secret agents. Because anyway, moving on. So the protagonist goes through, tries to save this guy, also, then tries to stop some bombs in the opera house, gets saved with a reverse bullet. Guy runs away. He's got like a little red ribbon with a it's on his back.
Well, I mean, we're talking about. I assumed the movie was going to end there.
I did, like, it was
that scene, and then it was going to go back at the end because
which is clever when you think about it. Like, it's a twist that built into the narrative, because you think, well, this film's about time travel.
In the box, whatever they were after was one of the pieces of the machine or the algorithm or whatever. Yeah. So you like assume to go back, and then there's obviously that thing that Pattinson, I can't remember his character's name. Robert Pattinson is the one who saved him at the start.
It was cool. It was cool. I really liked it. So they fight through the opera house. He gets captured by the Russians, like double cross, and then he takes his suicide pill. Wakes up from surgery and from a coma. Turns out that suicide pill was a test to get him into Tenet.
Perfect surgery, must be said. Yeah. Not a scar on him. He looks younger than he did before.
It is weird, yeah. So he then gets sent on a mission to, I think he meets up with Nick before he gets into the arms dealer's house. He's trying to find out. I'm skipping.
Yeah, because the conversation with the woman and the bullets happens.
That's the first thing they do.
That happens straight out. Maybe it's because obviously in the full timeline, if someone will work it out, he forms Tenet, the protagonist. Because I did think why him taking a suicide pill and not dying was enough for the government to be like, you can be in on this weird time shit. That's fine. There's only like 5 people who know about it, but you took a suicide pill, so you're cool, you can come in. But I guess, they clearly could have had something in being like, this is this man, get him, he's me. We need to do this whole loop. Yeah, they have the explanation with the woman and the bullets, which I think is kind of an okay explanation.
I think it's quite good because it lays down like a call to action. It's ominous when she's like talking about like a third world war with time and shit.
But she was, me and the people I went to see it with, when she said, "Don't try and understand it." We laughed. Nobody else in the cinema did, but we quite loudly laughed because we're just like, yeah, okay, this is not going to be Inception, which was very much like
try to understand,
try to make it seem like very plausible and like went through every level and the deep construction of every piece of every part of the plan. And 10 minutes into Tenet, they're just like, it was fucking just backwards, innit?
Just relax, all right?
It's just fucking backwards, all right?
Like in Austin Powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I assumed in the trailers and everything that the bungee shit, right,
Yeah, they were
was
going backwards.
reversed,
Yeah.
but they're just bungeeing up.
Yeah.
Like, why not make anyway, whatever?
It
But
was
why not
good. I honestly
invert the
did think the
bungee
same.
or something? Like, anyway, it just feels like they're doing something backwards in a movie where things are being done backwards. But
Exactly.
that specific thing is not backwards.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so he goes to talk to arms dealer woman who is on his side, not on his side. She tells
No,
him,
she's
go,
part of Tenant. She's part of the
okay.
organization.
She
So
tells
she does
him,
the whole Tenant thing.
yeah. She tells him to go get Kenneth Branagh,
Yeah.
Russian Kenneth Branagh. She
Which
said,
he did a tremendous job. You can't lie. He was really good. Nice work.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's too much of
Yeah. Too.
Gilderoy Lockhart to me.
Yeah.
So then he'd go, hello, I'm the villain. It's just me today. And say I'm going to beat my wife, and I'm
Yeah.
like, as part of me, just kind of like, why is he Russian? Why are you having Kenneth Branagh be Russian? Hello, my name is Kenneth. I direct the cut of this foul.
Did he?
He did. And 4-1.
That's it. That's the end of the podcast. We ended there. I feel like that's a perfect note to end on.
And then never come back. We came back. End on that line, and we're done.
Yeah.
The podcast. So, yeah, yeah, it tells him to go get Russian Kenneth Branagh, and then at this point, the movie stops being about backwards time shit for a while, and becomes about like this loveless marriage about this man who's like abusing his wife, and the protagonist trying to get in and like find out what his plan is. And I know Chris Nolan wanted to make a spy movie, and like he loves James Bond and he wants to make a James Bond movie, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this is clearly like it going into that. But this is when they have the conversation on the boat where literally the only word I got was opera, and then he's all of a sudden he's been put off into the fucking ocean, and it's just I'm like, was that scene important? I don't know. What is his thing? He was in a secret city in Russia, this Kenneth Branagh. Oh yeah, well, Soviet Union, you're all over it.
Of course I know. The Soviet Union used to have closed cities around industries that were important. So like nuclear research or nuclear testing, that sort of thing. So there'd be no one going in or out. So it wouldn't exist on any maps. It wouldn't, there'd be no way you knew it existed. And he grew up in one of those cities. And the reason he was picked for future humans like plans is because the best way to hide the radiation of the inverted objects is in a city that has, radioactive testing.
Okay, right. So that's okay, because that's not what I picked up. What I gathered was he just kept finding boxes of gold.
No.
That's all I got. Was he found some in the past, and then later on he's pulled out a different box of gold from the ocean. I'm like, where are you getting all this gold?
Do you want me to give you the TLDR of the ending then, or him, for instance?
Well,
because it sounds like you missed a bit of it. Because I had to look it up. Because I was like, right, let me just make sure I got that. So there is
future humans. Did anybody get that?
Future humans are dying from climate change.
Yeah. No, I got that.
They're sending back these boxes, and they developed the algorithm to destroy the world in the past, and hoping that would destroy the generation that made climate change, and so they could live in the future. And they picked him because for the Soviet Union, there's a lot of proliferation of like nuclear weapons going missing and like nuclear accidents. So it's like the perfect person to pick and the perfect time to do it. So that's all the reasons why Sato exists. By the way, Sato is where they get the name Tenet from. It's a Sato square, which is words that you can not spell backwards, but It's some bullshit. If you look up a Sato guy, you'll see what it is. Honestly, I didn't read enough,
So
but that's
like,
where Tenet comes from.
so they sent him.
It's where opera comes from, so that's why there's an opera house at the beginning. Sato is the guy's name.
Yeah.
Um,
They sent him boxes of inverted objects, and then the gold was so that he could like have an empire. I guess.
No, they sent the gold backwards then with information for him. Like there's a scene where he opens it for the first time, and then he looks at some like documents, and I think they say his name on it. It's like to Sato, blah blah blah, and then you see the gold. Then he kills the guy for the gold, and yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not they're sending him stuff; they're sending him information that will make him rich from the gold he has.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a better understanding than I had before. Yeah, but yeah, there's just this big chunk of the movie where it's just Kenneth Branagh doing stuff and nearly hitting his wife, but then they cut it out so they could be a 12A. And this stuff, and then I'm starting to lose interest and going like, what's this? Where's this movie going? And then the car chase happens, which I think is very cool, very well done. Where you see Kenneth Branagh and his wife going backwards, and the car flipping backwards, and he's like counting down, like threatening to kill her and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. What's this? Ooh, I'll tell you what, there's some time stuff. I've been sat here for 40 minutes going, where the fuck's all the time stuff? The bungees weren't even time stuff. Where's all the time stuff? Oh, I guess to be honest, we skipped the entire. That's me. Sorry, that's my bad. That's me skipping the entire airport bit.
Yeah, I think we did skip the airport
bit. Nolan and the trailers had been wanking off that they crashed a plane. It's alright, wasn't it? I don't feel like that was the focus of that scene, that they drove a plane into a building. Like okay.
Yeah.
But that scene was cool, and obviously he fights the reverse he fights the reverse soldier. And that is like the point where you actually see
it more properly, yeah.
You see the concept in action as opposed to like some bullets quickly going past. And I think that bit was really cool.
I liked how they explained it as well, because they make it out like the guy dies on the other end in that scene, that he gets sucked into the air turbine, but he's getting pushed by it because it's in reverse.
Yeah, I think I did guess at the time that it was going to end up being someone. I don't know. I'm not going to give myself credit and say that I guessed it was him. I didn't understand, because obviously at that point, because there's two of them going, because there's the one going forwards, which Robert Pattinson is chasing, and there's the one going backwards, which the protagonist is fighting. So the way I saw it was that Robert Pattinson was chasing either him or the protagonist, and then the other one was, I thought there were two people. At that point, it hadn't been explained that that was the same person, one going forwards and one going reverse. I assumed one was Pattinson and one was John David Washington, John David Washington, the protagonist. I assumed not that they were both him. I hadn't figured that bit out, I'll be honest. Especially when he's like, "Oh, don't kill him," and I was like, "Oh, it's because it's you, Robert Pattinson. You don't want to die, do you? You bastard."
I liked how they didn't show, like, you knew something was going on when Robert Pattinson fought the guy, and then his mask came off, but you didn't see who it was.
Yeah.
But then Robert Pattinson just ran away instead. You knew something was going on from there. Like, Robert Pattinson knew more as a character than
James, his name is Robert Pattinson, please.
Robert Pattinson, my apologies.
Yeah, that scene was good. I like that. I liked Hamish Patel from yesterday. I liked him.
Yeah, that was good.
I think he's from EastEnders originally. He's had a bad career the last couple of years. Yeah, that seems good, and obviously that scene ties into this bit I was talking about. So the whole car chase bit happens, and then they go into that warehouse that has the time box. They never give it a name. It has the time box in it, and it's the scene where the time. Quick, get into the time box. Get into the time box quick before we run out of time.
Yeah.
And they just go in. They come out with a lot of herbs. Fucking hell! I didn't think it was going to be the time box. I thought it was the time.
Hey.
Anyway, so they go into that room, and it's Kenneth Branagh and his wife, and they're in reverse, and the protagonist is like responding, and you can get like vague things that he's saying, and that happens, and she gets shot in reverse, and like they head off, and then
that's when the movie.
I mean,
that's the
yeah. Then this when all the soldiers show up, but I didn't really enjoy their presence at all. and they were like, we gotta go, we gotta do this, but you gotta be careful. We can't go backwards; it's not safe. But we gotta go backwards. All right, then we'll go backwards. And
it was a bit forced.
They come in to be like quickly like, okay, so if we go backwards, this is the rules now, guys. All right, and then go. But then when they do go through the time box, and then we're seeing the scene again, but with Kenneth Branagh being forwards, and everything happening that way, and then we go through and we have the car chase again. It turns out the car that was flipping was the protagonist, and he was helping with the box. And then you go through and we do the airport bit again, and that's when you find out that it was him. That bit, that 10-15 minutes, is fucking spectacular.
So
like that had me gasping and like going like, oh fucking hell! Like, and like obviously like all of it, most of it was shot practically, and then reversed afterwards, and like that section is fucking incredible. And that's when I thought the movie was going to just carry on going backwards. Like we hit a middle point, and the movie was going to go backwards until we went back to the opera house,
which would have been really cool.
I thought that's the way it was going to go.
I reckon, because I looked up,
it doesn't.
Christopher Nolan's been working on this film for 10 years, like, to get it right. I think early in the drafts, that's how the film went. He went all the way back to the opera house in the beginning.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was going. Because it gets a bit confusing about, like, they go backwards, but then they stop and then go forwards again. So that's kind of when it gets a bit time travel-y. Because they'll go backwards a couple of days and then go forwards a couple of days again. So that at that point there are two versions of themselves going forward. Because obviously the wife at the end is on the boat with Kenneth Branagh, while also herself, who hasn't gone through the movie yet, is on the island. So like that's when it gets a bit weird and time travel-y. But I liked that bit. I liked the wife on the boat with Kenneth Branagh. I thought that was good. Yeah. I didn't like her character a lot of the time. Just got a son. We understand. Like, we understand. There was a bit with Robert Pattinson was in that.
Do you know that I have a son?
God, that was terrible for me. That was terrible for me hearing that. But like, there's a bit where Robert Pattinson's like, well, yeah, if we don't get this right, then everyone's going to die. And she chirps in, bearing in mind that she's just been reverse shot, and she chirps in with, including my son. Yes, like, obviously, yes, everyone includes your fucking
Does that include
son? I can't remember.
Honestly, why would you ever say everyone, including my son? If it's everyone, that does include your son. Your son has been excluded for some reason. What?
Liverpool have just won the football league. Oh, including the trophy. No, they just didn't give that. Like it
exactly.
It's been explained anyway. I've got problems with her character. I think that ending between them two is good, but then there's the army ending, which felt like it was some fucking Transformers or something.
What I didn't get is because obviously he talks to the Indian arms dealer. They're explaining everything, and then it explains where they have to go, and it goes by so fast. And because it doesn't actually look like a city, like It doesn't. Let's be real.
Mhm.
It just looks like it honestly looks like
it looks like a Call of Duty map.
it. I thought when it began that it was training, like they were training for the real thing, because it didn't look like a city at all, and it didn't look like the city that they flashed back to at the beginning. It was just a bit ridiculous. I thought that was really bad, like planning. Because why don't you just like find a fucking dilapidated Russian city? There's a lot of Soviet cities that are dilapidated. You could just go to one.
I understood what the main three people were doing. I understood what the protagonist Robert Pattinson and Aaron Taylor Johnson were doing. Can I also just sidebar about Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, the soldier? That is so blatantly and so clearly was supposed to be Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah.
It's just Nolan's gone, "Hiya Tom, it's me Chris. Anyways, I got this new. You're busy."
Exactly. It was definitely going to be him. Honestly.
But you're in all my movies, and I wrote a thing. He's gonna do a weird British accent, big beard. You like that? You know. That's what you. Tom, what do you mean you're doing Venom? Tom.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll get Kick-Ass. And he's there, and he's doing like a Tom Hardy voice, just going like, and then we gotta go through, we gotta do this. This is my same voice for everybody. We've established this. It's the one voice I do. But
it is as well.
You know,
like him in Peaky Blinders, and him in what's that other thing he's in? I can't remember.
Legend is the one where he's the craze. Yeah.
Just same voice.
Oh boy. When somebody says a timeshare, I want a timeshare. Alright? Quick, everyone, it's me, Tom Hardy. Get in the time box.
Quick invert time.
I really thought his character was clearly meant for Tom Hardy when he came out and he went, "Hello everyone, get to the time box, please. You were born in the time." Fuck it, you know? So anyway, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Aaron Taylor Hardy. I understood what those three were doing. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson, the protagonist, were going to get the algorithm before it did something, putting the algorithm in a box and then putting that box in a tube. For some reason, it's the end of the world.
What? Yeah, I think what they were trying to do.
It was a metaphor for sex.
I think they were trying to show that they were. He wasn't actually. He was putting it there because it was secure. I think, not because it was going anywhere.
No, but I think because they wouldn't have been in a rush if they knew where it was just being put. I think him putting it there would have turned it on and would have converged the timelines and would have killed everyone.
Is that what it did? I thought that it just inverted the time that was going on.
I send 50-odd soldiers, some backwards and some forward, in a way that you cannot comprehend what's going on, to go get something if there wasn't a time rush. So like I think him and his henchman, his odd job, I guess. That's the role that character was playing. He was putting this into this tube while he was swanning off on a boat. Putting that in the tube was going to end everything because he went onto the boat.
But it wasn't going to end anything. It ended when he died, and that's why they had to keep him alive. That's what I think the guy was reaching for.
Oh, right, okay.
So I think he was reaching to activate it so that if he died...
Oh, you're absolutely right. Putting it in the tube that didn't do anything. It was when he died. That's what.
No, actually,
you are right. You are right. It was set to his heart.
No, I know why they put it in the tube, because the tube was like it was. You remember when he first threw stuff down there? It was endless. Like it was an endless tube. You know, like ding, ding, ding. And it just kept going. So if he pulled the thing to activate it, so that when Sato died, it would set it off. If he dropped it down there, how can they get it? You know. It was a good deep hole that no human could go into, because obviously it's like in a radiated city or whatever. So I think that's why.
Yeah, so we'll just have that concept, and it's made me tired. So I understood what they were doing. I understood what Pattinson was doing, and obviously, like and his time, like we didn't have to see his whole timeline. Like you understand that he died,
Yeah,
like
God.
unlock the door and
It
everything.
was
Like,
cool. It was cool finding out that it was him because
mhm,
I thought it was going to be John David Washington's character, the protagonist.
mhm.
So I thought that was really cool.
I think no, I think I instantly knew it was him because it was Blue, because he was part of the Blue Boys.
I think maybe they should have had him take it off as he walks away, and then that could have saved the reveal for right at the end when he turns around and you see he's got on his backpack.
Yeah, maybe. But like that's yeah. So anyway, what was as I understood what those three were doing, but the rest of it was just gibberish. Just it was just because the thing is, if you have half of the people going backwards and the other half going forwards, it's kind of actually hard to tell, even though you put them in different colours, what you're watching that's forward and what you're watching that's backward. Either have everyone backwards, so you can be like, oh, everything's moving backwards, or have everyone forwards. It's kind of hard to, other than like obvious things like a wall coming back after being blown up. Like, it was just kind of all of the rest of that shit was just gibberish and like just so unnecessary.
It was. It was pretty weird. I won't lie to you.
I enjoyed, Kenneth Branagh going on the
I
boat
fucking
and wanting to have just be smug while this happened, and then go off and top himself and like do all that, and the wife getting away and all that, and
I can't
her
honestly.
and her timeline, like I liked all that, but
She deserved to die at the end. She should have died. She killed him
yeah.
early. She killed him. She killed him early.
Yeah.
If he died, and
She
she didn't get confirmation, so she killed him early. That could have fucking killed the universe. What?
Yeah, it's just but just in general, I like her timeline that like we meet her and she says, "Oh yeah, I saw this woman dive.
That
And
was
then I
cool.
got on the boat and she wasn't there." And then obviously the entire movie happens, and then she gets on the boat and dives in, and then she goes off and she gets to have her
And
son.
she
So
said
there's this
she was
part of her life
jealous of
that was a loop.
the woman that dived off the boat because she was free. I thought that was cool, and then she
Mhm.
becomes that character that's free. It's fun.
I think that part was good, but there's just most other things with that character. See, what we got right, this conversation we've been having of this movie that we, in the non-spoiler bit, was going, oh, it's great, it's brilliant, but it's been mostly negative things.
It's because we're getting into the intricacies of the plot. Like, I thought that it really needed some set changes towards the end. I think it needed to be slowed down, if anything, towards the end, and the audio mixing is really bad. It's a great film. Like, I would definitely buy it on Blu-ray
Just so
because
you could have the subtitles.
because I like the plot. I think it's a cool idea. I think honestly, it's probably the most original spy thriller that's come out in a long time. A long, long time.
No, I think it's really good. And this generally, just on a side note about it, is I can't think of any movie I've seen Robert Pattinson in that wasn't Twilight and Harry Potter. I generally think that's the only two things I've seen him in. So like, I wasn't against him being Batman. I wasn't like, oh fucking sparkly vampire, that's not my Batman. But it was generally nice to see him in something else and like be like, oh no, he's really good actually. Like I've now got like more hope for his Batman due to seeing him in this.
Yeah, I think he will be a good Batman. To be honest,
Cool.
he clearly has good acting range. Also, weirdly, everyone was really well dressed in this film.
No, but that's any Christopher Nolan movie.
No,
Because the man directs in suits. The man's always in a suit, so he always has people like dressed up in suits like all the time. Like like I haven't seen Memento, but I've seen the DVD case, and Guy Pearce is in a suit. The Prestige, it's just old timey suits in it. Batman, bat suit. Inception, everyone's in fucking suits in that movie. Like literally everyone. There's different forms of suits. I guess Interstellar, space suit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dunkirk, I got nothing.
Dunkirk, you got like uniforms,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Admiralty suits.
Mm. But yeah, and then this. Also, I like that Michael Caine's character was literally that he literally showed up for a scene just because he's Michael Caine. I guess he has
Yeah.
to show up in a Christopher Nolan movie. It's a checklist. I think genuinely he's in all three Batman movies. He's in Prestige, he's in Inception, he's in Interstellar. Is he in Dunkirk?
No.
He's not in Dunkirk. No, no wonder I haven't seen it. It's not Michael Caine. But he shows up and his character is literally called Sir Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, that's when the whole movie is about a fucking fake painting. Oh, I did not understand any of that.
Yeah, that was totally pointless.
Oh, go see it but then it turned out that the painting was like a bargaining chip that he had because it was fake and she'd be embarrassed by that. I guess
No,
I
but
don't know.
it would ruin her career because he knew it was a fraud, and by saying, "Oh, this woman sold me a fraudulent,"
Yeah, but surely you could have been like, "Well, my husband bought it." Like, there's some nepotism in that automatically.
Yeah, but she sold it to him, didn't she?
Mm.
She was the one that was like, "Yeah, buy this," even though she knew it was fraudulent. So it ruined her career. Otherwise,
Well, I'm glad she didn't care about her career. She only cared about her son. If we don't get this done, everyone will die, including my career.
My child.
Including my career.
Terrible. What a fucking weird. Also, I know this is nitpicky and quite frankly rude, but she looked weird, didn't she? She looked weird.
I don't think she looked weird.
No. It's a scene where there's a wide shot of John David Washington and her, and she looks like drawn, but like her proportions are wrong. She's got like a head and then a body that's like 5 times her head.
Right.
Look at a picture of her.
So
She looks like she's been stretched.
I don't think she's been.
I couldn't stop thinking about it when I saw a picture of her from a wide angle. I'm gonna send you a picture of her. What's her name? Let me find it. Obviously, I don't know, makes a good model or whatever, but I found it fucking bizarre. I couldn't get away from it. Like, she just looks like so long.
Well, what are we at for
We
time?
are at an hour 7. Do you wanna call it quits in a bit?
We can call it quits in a bit, but I had a lovely. Problem is, right? I've had someone who I said that I'm talking to James, and we might be coming back, and he said, "Well, you never read my email," and I'm now trying to find what the email is that we didn't read.
Oh shit! We have an email that we fucking didn't read.
Did we ever read an email by Stanley Nubbins? Did we ever do
I don't think we ever did.
Because we did the recipe for Kung Pao chicken. We did Kung Pao chicken.
Yeah.
Famously, we did Kung Pao chicken. We did the one where first time listener, long time writer. I have a question for you. I'm recently deaf in one ear, and it was one of the best movie soundtrack. Okay, we definitely did do that one. This is very organized. These emails were in April, by the way. This was before. Again, but this is before I went. This is before I went to my partner's, and I was there for quite a while. Anyway, this is Stanley Nubbins has sent this email in.
Thank you, Stanley Nubbins.
Yeah.
I hope that's a real name.
Yeah, this is not spoilers anymore. Let's mark it. Put a pin on that. No spoilers. This is Stanley Nubbins at xx69nubs420xx@yahoo.com.
Okay, it's not real. Surely it's not.
The steal.
Oh, if you're real.
I have a very suspicion that all 4 emails I've ever received are from the same person.
Probably, most likely.
Here I include. Well, the subject is that's good, which I don't understand the reference.
This is scary.
Here I include a 5-step plan for your success.
Okay.
Number 1, A Man of Two Worlds, a Star Trek the original series fanfic. It's a link. It's a link that takes us to the fanfic. Do you wanna read a bit of the fanfic?
I will. Shit. I love Star Trek.
I'll read the first paragraph. Is this the?
Is there a description of the fanfic?
I think this is the description, actually. I've been thinking about that phrase I hear from the Abrams timeline, a child of two worlds, and I think of how hard it is to be a mixture of two different cultures, two different biologies. If you remember from the episode Journey to Babel, which we all remember, James,
Well, of course we do.
where Amanda tried to comfort Spock about his heritage, she addressed the human part of him, with which is empathy and understanding for Sarek. But Spock chose his Vulcan side, tried to make his mother understand the reasons for his decision not to leave his post. I want to explore the human part, the inner man of Spock, which struggles for identity and a place in this universe, especially in regard to love. Here is my impression of how it would have gone if Spockak. That's because how it's written here is Spockah. So it's Spockak. Or, alternatively, Spock,
Ah.
the Vulcan, and Grayson, the human. Sorry, what? Here is my impression of how it would have gone if Spock, the Vulcan, and Grayson, the human, had met Nyota in a mind meld, and how the human half react. So I think they're gonna fuck.
Yeah, mind fuck. I like that.
No.
Nothing like some mind fucking.
Half of those names meant nothing to me. Number 2, what movies have you walked out on?
None.
I nearly walked out of Jigsaw. Sorry, because I thought they had done something to that franchise that I care far too much about. Where I was going to walk out. They made it seem like they had brought a character back to life who had been dead for 5 movies at that point, and I was like, if they do this, I'm livid. But other than that, I never seemed to walk out. I didn't walk out of Pitch Perfect 3, and that was
I love bad films. I love them.
I don't love them, but I've never walked out of a film. I've maybe stopped watching a film at home. Like, I think if I started watching Mission Impossible 2 but wasn't on the intent of watching all 6 of them, I probably would have stopped that. And there's been movies that I've probably started and then not finished. But if I'm at the cinema, if I'm sat down in a cinema to watch something, I've never walked out. Samly. Sorry?
I just remembered that Rambo: Last Blood exists.
Oh right, yeah. No, I know. I missed that screening. What a shame.
You fucking missed out on God's gift to this earth. Quite frankly.
3. Stanley needs relationship advice. How?
Who does?
Stanley Nubbins.
Stanley.
Stanley Nubbins.
Samley.
Stanley Nubbins.
What's his name? Stanley.
Stanley.
Sand.
Sanley. Sanly. Sanley.
That's a weird name.
Stanley needs relationship advice. How, right, James? How can you keep a girl?
How can you keep one?
Yeah.
Pickle him.
Pickle him. I was gonna say a double Dutch knot.
Yeah. I don't know, Stanley Nubbins. How do I keep a girl? I suppose.
Well, we both have partners
that's right.
For differing lengths of time.
That's right.
But you know, we've kept them.
You know, treat someone with respect.
Make sure that they never realise that there's other options that will probably be better than the current one they have.
Well, I'm me, so.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about me, James. You are the peak. You are perfection.
There's no one applauding, but if there were people,
no one is. My advice now, keep a girl. You got to be yourself. You got to be respectful.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta respect that woman and what they believe in. Be that women's rights. be that any form of sexual orientation they might be, religion, if they want different pronouns or anything, you have to respect them and support them. And if you don't, they'll go away. They'll take the kids because they'll find someone who will respect them and treat them like a person, not an object.
Yeah, be mature in your relationship and in the way that you treat relationships in general.
A relationship is a two-sided coin,
It is.
For you got to share, you got to give and take.
Yeah.
For every time that your partner wants to, I was gonna have a joke, but I can't think of anything. Pat it out, James. Pat it out. Here we go. Try and say something while I try and come up with a good joke.
I'm joking. Be understanding.
Yeah.
But know your limits as well. You don't need to get yourself into something that you don't deserve.
Just understand, as Hannah Montana said, nobody's perfect. You live and you learn it again and again until you get it right. So don't just think that the first girl you jump across is going to be, or boy, or dog. Don't think the first one you find is going to be perfect. It's going to be the one. Exactly. Don't just settle. You need to find the person who meshes with you, and they might have some issues, and you might have some issues. Don't be scared to share them with people. It's good to have someone to lean on, someone to support you. Don't bottle stuff up. Big boys do cry. It's something. It's every relationship's different. You can't paint every relationship with the same brush. But one thing I will say that you can do with every relationship: send them dick pics, James. They love them. Women love unsolicited dick pics. Send them all.
Just send it to find your nearest MP.
Make a group chat of every woman you've ever met. Just send the
picture. Spend years making it.
And it's easy because you don't have to send it to them individually. You just send it to every woman you've ever met. Take out your mum and your gran. Maybe Auntie Barbara. Don't put her in.
Yeah.
I've said the name.
Second cousins.
I've said the name Barbara. That is.
Was that a Freudian slip, Adam?
No, because Barbara is not my aunt, but Barbara is the name of someone I do know, and I apologize for using that name. Auntie Deborah, don't use your Auntie Deborah. Take them out, and then just send your dick to all of them.
Yeah.
One of them might be on.
One of them might be like.
One of them might be
nice.
Granted, you might get blocked by 200 of them, but that one
sexual harassment claims.
Might get arrested, but one of them might be like down for that. And I think that's worth it. People bet on the lottery. Worse odds, I reckon.
Exactly.
Number 4.
Wow, we're not even done. Brilliant.
Number 4. What's your favourite country, James?
Ooh, Liechtenstein.
Stanley points out minus Lithuania. You can't say Lithuania if you wanted to say Lithuania.
I said Liechtenstein.
Is that a communist state?
Nah.
Was it at some point a communist state?
Nah.
I'm disappointed, James. I thought there was going to be.
All right, I'll pick a communist one.
Yeah.
Tenet then.
There you go. Fucking hell, James. Why you got to pick niche countries? I don't know. I like.
Right, legitimately, what's my favorite country? England. I like England the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. United States is pretty, but it's got too many wanks in it. Too many dickheads.
I quite like Australia and New Zealand. I haven't been to either of them, but I like what I've seen. I like what.
I reckon I could really fucking like New Zealand.
I feel like I'd like to live in Australia and then retire in New Zealand.
I think I'd like to live in New Zealand and then die.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I think I like Australia and New Zealand. I think they're quite good. And you like Liechtenstein? Is that?
Yeah, I said Liechtenstein as a joke. But I think I'd probably say England.
Well, good thing you said England, because the final question is, can you explain to Stanley the history of England the best you can. I'll leave. I'll leave.
Really?
Yeah, no. Explain to me the history of England the best you can. You're the history guy.
Okay.
Go for it. What we at for time?
We're at 1 hour and 19.
All right. Well, very quickly.
Quickly. Okay. England get its name from the ancient Germanic tribe of the Angles. So when the Angles migrated here, it became Angleland, eventually England.
I thought it was because they went, "Oh, we're
was-
in the land," and then that became.
Well, imagine if a tribe moves there and they'd be like, "Oh, where do they live?" And they live in their land. It's Angleland. It's England eventually. I mean, that's legitimately it.
Okay.
So we had, the early days, which were the Roman days. Romans came along. There was like, we've conquered you, but here's all this nice shit. We're like,
The early
cheers.
days do tend to happen first.
Cheers. They leave, and we immediately fucking don't know how to do any of it, so it falls apart. We have the 10th century for a while, which is where there was like 10 kingdoms in England, Wessex and Essex.
Kingdoms.
Wessex.
10 kingdoms.
10 kingdoms in England.
Kingdoms, yeah.
Like Wessex, Essex, Northumbria, Mercia, East Anglia, yada yada yada. There was loads of them. Eventually, it was unified by Alfred the Great, and then it was later conquered by William the Conqueror, and so it Normanized England, and that's how you get Anglo-Saxons, and you get Anglo-Saxons through the Saxon conquest of England, which was the Vikings conquesting. So really, cut forward a few years,
few millennia.
You get Henry VIII, and he's like, "Fuck the Catholics," essentially. And that's the beginning, but the beginning to the long road of British imperialism, which then conquers the entire world, or at least a quarter of it. Then it all falls apart because we get to 2 world wars that we didn't have to get involved in the first one. It was a load of shite. But it's too late for that now. So the empire fell apart. Now we just kind of dilapidated.
The empire struck back.
Well, it did. But by striking back, it died. So now we're a dilapidated country, sadly. Still, modern first world country, and still pretty powerful, but that's waning all the time. So that's the history of England, really. There's a lot more complex and important events that happen, but that's the general gist from beginning to end.
Well, there you go. And then,
You asked, and I just gave it to you.
Yeah, you have a encyclopedic knowledge of shit like that.
Yeah.
And then they lead up with cash out and get babes and money. Hashtag popcorn for life. Don't at me. I did that because I read out your entire email address.
Yeah. Yep. Please email him.
Love the podcast BRB, which is Be Right Back, which I don't think is what they meant. I would assume they probably meant by the way. Love the podcast Be Right Back.
Right.
One second.
Hey, they might be back. You don't know. They might email now.
It's been months. That's not right back.
They've been waiting to send that draft that they've got saved.
Uh-huh.
Fucking fire it off as soon as this one's published.
I was just.
Is there any more?
No, I was having a look to see if there was a podcast called Be Right Back, because maybe they were just telling us that they like that one. It doesn't seem to be, so we're number 1. There is another email, but we're pushing it, so we'll leave that for another 3 months.
We'll leave it, yeah. We'll leave it till the end of fucking time.
End of time, which isn't about 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess when we both see New Mutants, we'll do an episode on New Mutants.
We will.
I realised we didn't really talk about the DC fandom stuff.
Thank God.
So I guess we could talk about that.
Do you want
to? Not now.
Right, next time.
Yeah, well, like an hour 20. We'll talk about the fandom stuff next time. I don't know. We'll do that. Have you watched the Harley Quinn show, James?
Brief parts, but
I've watched that, so maybe you can watch that. We can talk about that. Yeah, it's good.
Shit. I mean, that was pretty good, wasn't it? First
Yeah.
video version.
James, can you let her go now? James, I did the podcast. I did the fucking podcast with you, James. Will you let her go?
Okay, that's as scary as I can look.
It's great for an audio medium, isn't it? You fucking melon. Jesus Christ. Alright, fucking hell. It's been Popcorn Regret. We do have an email. It's popcornandregret@gmail.com if you want to email in. We never made a Twitter. We're on Spotify, I think. I don't
All
actually
the social media be in the description.
Still on Spotify. If we can even add any more episodes to Spotify, but we're definitely on YouTube. And we're on Instagram, Popcorn Regret, and I'm in your mum's car. Brum brum. See you next time, boys.
What was that? That was an archaic meme there. Jesus.
That's how we're ending it now.
All right.
we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and you're in your mum's car.
I can't even remember how we ended it originally.
No, we ended it by going, that's good.